Tonight on NEWSNITE, coalition of 51 civil society groups demand a recall of President Akufo-Addo's list of nominees for regional and deputy regional ministerial positions, saying it lacks enough women representation.
It's unfortunate that we have only one woman out of the 14. The president should withdraw the list of the nominees. It is not too late. They are not approved yet. They just gone through the vetting.
But the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament says the president cannot be faulted.
I don't remember reading anywhere in our manifesto that there will be 60-40 appointees. I think that the president has done the best within circumstances which he finds himself.
Chairman of Parliament's Education Committee backtracks on allegations that the NDC government diverted 100 Mahindra vehicles meant for government schools for party activities.
Per the explanation you've given so far,
they are withdrawn.
I was satisfied. My ranking also informed me at that time. I was okay with it. Although I said, okay, but it was misjudgment. So it's withdrawn. Honorable.
Also tonight we'll be live at the University of Education Winneba, where the university's council is just about addressing an emergency news conference following the closure of the university in the wake of student rioting there last week. Correspondents on the ground will bring us a live update shortly.
Also, police is defending speedy prosecution of driver and mate who beat up a police officer after Wages Circuit Court remands them for 2 weeks.
And so the video came out yesterday, or it went viral yesterday. The police actually did not really know the extent of assault that was also meted out on the police officer.
We'll get to hear from the PRO of the Greater Accra Police as she explains why the police officer who assaulted the Ghanaian Times reporters on that same day is yet to be arrested.
And in business, total foreign currency deposits in banks reaches almost $4 billion. We'll get you details in business.
And later in sports, Accra Hearts of Folk deny report technical director Kim Grant is set to leave the club less than a week after the departure of chief executive Mark Noonan.
And also, opposition NDC accuses leadership of the governing NPP of gross disrespect to President Akufo-Addo after the party failed to write to them 25 days after they were directed to do so.
Clearly showing that they do not have any respect for the president. I think our president should be very worried about this phenomenon. This is not right.
And later on, flip side, a new song for the falling city.
Dollar police, come to the rescue. The dollar been let loose.
And tonight we'll see if the dollar police can really come to the rescue of the city. Send us your WhatsApp on what you make of the stories you'll be about to run with you by you NEWSNITE so far. My name is Evans Mensah and the WhatsApp number is 0244 340437.
And I am MFFO.
And let's start from the central region, because last week there was chaos on campus of the University of Education Winneba. There was student rioting there that led to the closure of that university. Since then, a lot has happened with meetings trying to resolve the impasse and reopen the university. Today, the University Council, they've been on the campus assessing the damage, and they are about to address a news conference. My colleague, Richard Kodonyako, is there for us. Richard, has this press conference started? We'll get to Richard very shortly. And we know that the assessment that was done today found evidence of significant damage to ATM machines on the campus. Let's speak to Kodonyako right now. Hello, Kojo.
Hello, Ivan.
Yes. Has this news conference started?
No, it's not started yet. They began with tour of the central campus, the north campus, and the south campus to assess the damage caused to property and then to other people's vehicles as well. So they started from the north campus, where a lot of the glasses on the buildings were destroyed. We went to the south campus, where about 4 ATM machines were smite. So when you get there, you see that a lot of them, they use stones in smashing the screens of the ATM machines. We went to an area where the buses belonging to the school were also destroyed as well. After that, we also visited a few areas, the security posts and other private vehicles that were also destroyed as well. So that is what we have done. It was led by the council chairman, Professor Nicholas Abakan, followed by the vice chancellor of the university, Reverend Professor Anthony Afubroni, the registrar, and other people, other senior officials from the university. Now they've gone into a closed-door meeting after which they will proceed to address the press.
Is there any possibility on the horizon that they may announce the reopening of the school based on what they've seen? And you saw it yourself, you went around, the damage as extensive as it is. Okay, we lost him on the line. We'll try and get him back as this unfolds on the UW campus. And once that news conference gets underway, we'll bring that to you here on NEWSNITE.
But away from that, a coalition of 51 civil society groups is demanding a recall and a reconsideration of President Akufo-Addo's list of 14 nominees for the position of regional and deputy regional ministries in the newly created regions. A statement from the coalition says it is shocked and disappointed as the list contains 13 men and only one woman.
Well, the group also says the list does not reflect the governing MPP's manifesto promise to give a minimum of 30% appointment to women in participation and in representation in all levels of decision-making structures in Ghana. My colleague Ernest joins me with a copy of this. And they're making 3 demands. What are they?
So the first, they're saying that a list of designated ministers and deputy ministers for the newly created regions and some existing regions be recalled and reconsidered to ensure gender equality. Number 2, they're saying that the formula of not less than 40% women and not more than 60% men or 40% men and 60% women be applied in this case. And then finally, they're saying that any government appointment should reflect the 40-60 formula or the African Union 50-50 agenda. We're using this appointment to this opportunity to also call on the Speaker of Parliament and all parliamentarians to ensure that gender equality and parity are at the heart of all appointments that come to Parliament for approval.
And who are these NGOs that sign up to this?
So there are 51 of them. They include Women's Manifesto Coalition, Women in Law and Development in Africa, Abantu for Development, International Federation of Women Lawyers, that's FIDA Ghana, Women Media Change, and you see a lot of women, NGOs or civil society groups, Free the Marginalized Women Advocates, that's Framework, Caritas Ghana, Golden Star, Child Research and Resource. There's GNEC as well, which is also an education.
Even the GJA is part of this. Amnesty International is also part of this, and the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition is also part of this. Now, one of the things it did was to also ask Parliament to do something about this.
Okay, so apart from Parliament, Ernest, which other organizations did they send this petition to? Do we know?
Well, it is not clear yet. We'll be finding out from them which organizations, especially because they want the president to act on this. Okay. Yes.
Well, the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Sewusu, says the president has done well within the circumstances he finds himself. According to him, the constitutional requirement which binds him to appoint more than 50% of his ministers from Parliament makes it difficult, seeing that there are very few women on the majority side in Parliament.
Friends, I think it is not correct. The number of appointees who are women exceed 1. I think tomorrow's list includes another female, Honorable Naneya, will be appearing, I think, tomorrow or so. She has also been nominated as a deputy minister. But you see, you must ask the questions from the group the president clearly wants to appoint. Many members of parliament, and I believe he has good reason for wanting to appoint the current ministers and deputy ministers from members of parliament, because they are already on the payroll of the state and there may not be any additional cost to the state. Right now, so from that group, you would ask how many female in all are in parliament? Of the 38 or so, how many are in the majority side? Out of those in the majority, how many are already holding positions in government? And how many is left? Can the president take all the women in parliament and make them ministers? So I think we must give space for the president to work with the material available to him. And I think that, however, they would have wished that there were more female, I think from the material available, the number of female MPs immediately available, I think the president has done the best within the circumstances.
They make the argument that other countries have achieved this, and the president's promised more female appointees in the administration generally, but they are not seeing that being reflected in the appointment that they've seen thus far.
Look at around you, the number of MCs, the number of DCs, and so on, number of ministers and deputy ministers that are already female. Already, in fact, the figure one is not correct, because already we have vetted. Yes, the tourism minister. She was the deputy minister. She was elevated to minister. And then we have one MCE who was being elevated to regional minister. And then we have one person from the floor of parliament who was also being nominated as minister. So the figures are already good if you're taking the comparison. But see, what people don't realize is that in the countries like Rwanda, where they say they have 50-50, their system is totally different from ours. They don't do direct election. They do appointment. That is easy because it's by appointment. You can decide that of the people I'm going to be 50-50. But in our case, it's an open field.
So you have the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Osei-Wusu. Now let's go on the line now and speak to Mr. Frank Boja. He's a Programs Manager for Governance Wildaf Ghana Limited, and he joins us on the line. We're grateful for your time here on NEWSNITE, Mr. Boja. So you've heard the explanation as put out by the first Deputy Speaker. The President is faced with a situation of appointing 50% from Parliament, and looking at the number of women on the side of the majority, it makes it difficult for him to attain the figures that you're looking at.
I think using that criteria will be wrong, in the sense that as far as you have a number of men in parliament, a large number of men in parliament, you can apply that principle of appointing more men from parliament and appointing the women from outside parliament. I think it will balance it. This is just an excuse. I don't think it's the right excuse that we have to give ourselves, that knowing that we don't have enough women in parliament. The only good thing that we are seeing from time, at least for the past 12 years, is that every time there is election, the number of women increases from 20 to 30, 30 to 37. And now, even with the current by-election we had at Ayawa, so we have another woman making 38. It is not enough. But for me, if I will propose to anyone who is making the appointment, this is a straightforward thing. If the men are more in parliament and you have appointed more men in parliament, consider appointing from outside parliament the women who are not in parliament. And if you take every region, previous 10 regions, now 16 regions, can we say that we can get qualified women, at least 10 from each region, to be appointed to such positions? I believe that that will not be the answer.
But you've made specific reference, Mr. Boja, to the 14 nominations for regional and deputy regional ministers. And you've also given the example of the election of the Ayawaso West Wogon MP, for instance. The question people keep on asking is, you are asking for more women to be appointed, but where are they? Are they even there?
I don't want to answer your question. Actually, I don't want to answer that.
Why not? Why not, Mr. Boja?
When did we get the men to be there? Is it not just trying them? There are men who have never worked in their life. They have been appointed as ministers. So why not the young women in the, for instance, the ruling party, the young so and so, the young women, the women so and so in the party? Can't we get? Can't MPP produce as many as 1,000 women in their party? Can they? So this, if they are not there, then they have to look at it, because in their manifesto, page 129, it is there clearly that we are going to give 30% appointment to women. And if you, I can give you an example. For instance, when we say that we are going to have the free senior high school, we're looking for money to do that. So if you are going to appoint, let's look for the people and put them there. Very simple thing. The resources are there. Just look for them. There are a lot of women in MPP.
There are a lot of women in NDC. Anytime appointment comes for the aspect of the women, it is excuse. Where are they? Look for them, because you promised to do that, and you have to do that. And even it's not even about a promise. The Constitution says that in making appointment to public offices, you have to look at regional and gender balance. Where is gender balance? Where we have one woman out of 14. Where is the gender balance? We don't have it. So that is where they've breached the law also. It can be subjected to any interpretation, but I'm saying that they've breached that aspect of the Constitution.
But just for clarity, Mr. Goja, this Article 129 or page 129 that you make reference to as to the NPP promising... just a minute.
Of the
NPP, yes. That's where I'm going. I'm saying that you talked about 30% to 70% appointments as promised by the NPP. Is it ministerial appointments or appointments in general?
When you put the total appointment, it becomes even worse. So you should not go to any other area. We are looking at what has been done now, and that is what we are saying. This appointment does not reflect the population of even the country, where women are more than men. And I'm saying that in the current administration, they have more women. And as far as they are looking for money to do the railways, they are looking for money to do education, they should look for the women to be in those positions. And that is it.
Just for education purposes, Mr. Goja, as it stands now, do we know the percentage in terms of appointment of women as against men under this current administration? Do we know generally? Do we know?
I want to focus first of all on the ministerial appointment. With the 111 ministers available, we have only 22 women out of the 111. When you calculate, it is 19.8%. I hope you understand. But we are targeting the minimum. That is the minimum. That, according to what is put there, the minimum should be 30%. And beyond that, the president of Ghana is the co-chair of the Sustainable Development Goal. Goal 3 is talking about parity. That is 50-50. How are you going to get it? The African Union has a protocol on human and people's rights, on the rights of women. That protocol is calling for parity. We have signed. And the interesting thing is that when we signed this, our president was then the Foreign Affairs Minister. In 2005, thereabout, long time ago, the president was the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So he knows a lot. And he knows also about the Constitution. He's a lawyer. So we are expecting that, and for the first time, we also have, beyond the Minister of Gender, there is an advisor at the Office of the President who is also advising him on gender issues. So we are expecting that the progress should even be accelerated beyond what we have had in the past. Okay. And I think that is what we have to look for.
Now, Mr. Goja, I'm sure that some extensive work must have been done before these 51 groups actually put this together to petition whoever you petitioned. I would want to know if some names were suggested as well as part of this statement.
We have suggested that in any subsequent appointment, the president should look at having 40 not less than 40% for either men or women, and not more than 60% for either men or women, because we don't want to say that.
But what I'm asking for is specifically a list of names of women that can take up this position as against what we have currently.
I think that should not be a problem, because immediately the president was elected and was sworn into office, we presented to him over 400 women who are capable to occupy any position in this country.
And they are interested, these women, 400 women, they are interested in these positions. And this list that you presented, are there any appointments that were made from that list?
Of course, there are some. There are some.
Up to how many do you know?
I don't want you to tell me if they are interested. The women are interested in any position in this country. And such questions should not be coming from us at this time of our life, because we have progressed 60 years. The women are capable. They are ready for every appointment that is available in this country. So we should look at it. Go into the list. The parties themselves should begin to look within the women within their parties, from each of the regions, from each of the constituencies, from each of the districts. I believe that we can get more than probably 1 million people. And I want to tell you that the last election, for instance, when the Electoral Commission published the registered voters, there were 350,000 more women who were registered to vote than men in this country. So it means that there are more women available for any position. If they are not in parliament, they are outside parliament. Look for them.
Has this petition been sent to the presidency? Have you received any response?
We have sent a petition to the president on that to look into this. We have petitioned the Speaker of Parliament, the Majority Leader, and then the Minority Leader, the Women Caucus of Parliament, the Gender Committee of Parliament, and all those who matter. We have petitioned them. So they should look into it. Okay.
So amongst others, you are demanding a recall of the list of 14 nominations, at least for the regional and deputy ministerial positions. If that doesn't happen, what would you do?
We want the government to recall the list. The parliament itself must be bold enough to reject. And I want to give you one example. For some time, during Professor Mills' time, during the constitution review, it happened that a list of committee members were formed for the constitution review in parliament. Honorable Samia Yaba Nkrumah was on the floor of parliament saying that the list that was presented to parliament was all men, and that there are women in parliament, so they should make that list, they should withdraw that list and then recompose. And they did by putting 2 women on that committee. So it is possible. There is a precedent here in Ghana. Okay. And I want to give another example. When the economic management team was formed by Professor Mills again, we petitioned Professor Mills, and Professor Mills was able to withdraw that list. And then, so didn't withdraw, but made extra appointments. The 9 men, there were other appointments that added 2 women to 8.
I would love us to go on and on with this, but unfortunately we are out of time, Mr. Gboja. We are grateful for your time. Frank Gboja is Programs Manager for WILDAF Ghana. They're speaking to us on their demands they've made to the President as well as the Speaker of Parliament.
Let's stay in Parliament because the Chairman of Parliament's Education Committee, Siaka Stevens, has backtracked on his allegations that the NDC government diverted 100 Mahindra vehicles meant for government schools for party purposes. Now, Mr. Stevens, in an interview with Joy News last month, served notice EOCO will soon go after NDC officials keeping such vehicles. Appearing before Parliament's Appointments Committee for vetting as Minister for Bono East, Mrs. Siaka withdrew the allegation.
I have here the story on my John Online, 16 January 2019, under the caption, NDC diverted 100 vehicles meant for Education Ministry for party activities.
Remember, there's no dispute. He has said he said
Stephen
it.
Siaka told,
you want to say
Stephen Siaka told Joy News, Joseph Opoku Gapo.
Can we go by the rules? He's answering the question. He doesn't dispute the details. So.
So do you stand? Because you know that reputations are at stake. You know that. I was the deputy minister at the time. If I've diverted pickups for party use, EOCO can come after me, even now as we conduct this vetting. So these are not matters that we should joke with. So do you stand by it so that we know what to do?
Mr. Chairman, I said if you consider the time this, pickups were distributed, one to education, one to the party itself. I said, you don't need any professor to tell you.
You are wrong.
And I demanded.
I put it to you that the NDC pickups arrived in 2015. I was at the Education Ministry. These pickups arrived in 2016. They were handed over publicly at the Independence Square to education directors. We called all the education directors, regional directors, heads of institutions, the colleges of education, universities, and publicly handed over the keys. President Mahama handed the keys to them. And the version of the pickups that the Education Ministry procured is different from what the NDC as a party procured a year prior in 2015. So you are wrong to say that it happened around the same time.
Mr. Chairman, politics is about invoking. When you invoke a debate, you come to explain and the air is clear. And I hope you clear the air. So that's all. I don't have any qualms over the answer you give. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the answer you give. So I'm okay. Yeah.
So do we consider the allegations withdrawn?
Per the explanation you've given.
So they are withdrawn.
I was satisfied. My ranking also informed me at that time. And I was okay with it. Oh, and I said, oh, okay. But it was misjudgments. So it's withdrawn. Honorable.
Okay, so that's what happened before the Appointments Committee today. And let's stay with the Appointments Committee because we've been having a conversation about the demand for a recall of the ministerial and deputy ministerial list by the group of 51 civil society groups, including Amnesty International, FIDA, and others. It turns out today that apparently one of the 3 women appointed as part of that 14 list is in trouble and stands the risk of her nomination being withdrawn. And Joseph Gakpo is in the studio with details of that. What's the issue?
So, first of all, one of the things that the first Deputy Speaker was drawing attention to was that in the statement, the indication was that only one woman... That is
the statement from the 51 civil society groups.
Yes.
They indicated only one was appointed out of 14.
So he sought to clear that up, that there are actually 3 women that are appearing before the committee. One of them is the Minister Designate for Tourism, who is being upgraded from her current position as Deputy Lands Natural Minister. That's Barbara Sewa. And then the other person is Mrs. Evelyn Amma Kumi Richardson, who is actually the Minister Designate for the Bono region. She's actually currently an MCE in the Bono region, and she's being appointed as a minister. I understand MCE for Sunyani currently. Now, usually when the committee meets, at the end of the sitting, they take a decision at that same moment on them, as in whether they are passing them or otherwise. But they vetted her and the others on Friday. A decision on her has been sidestepped. And so when the committee finished their meeting on Friday, after vetting the 3, they went ahead to give the green light for the rest of the 2 except her. There were questions about her holding herself out as a PhD holder. And so the demand has been made that she brings in the necessary documentation before a decision will be taken on her eventually. The first Deputy Speaker, who is chair of the committee, Joseph Osewusu, has been explaining why the green light wasn't given as far as she in particular is concerned soon after the vetting.
So far, as soon as we finish, we take a decision. So far, I think there's one on which decision is pending because we are set to bring something information material that we are yet to receive them. Once we receive that, we'll conclude the matter. Otherwise, all the others we have determined that they should go through.
So her nomination is hanging in the balance at this juncture, you'd say?
Well, it's not hanging in a balance, but she was required to provide certain information. Until we get that information, we can't take a decision. Okay. That's all. We will issue our report so we'll know.
So that's the latest from the Appointments Committee, and once we get the update on her situation, we'll bring that to you. So listen to NEWSNITE here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll do business now. When we return from business, police defense speedy prosecution of driver and mate who beat up a police officer after Wager Circuit Court remands them for 2 weeks.
And so the video came out yesterday, or it went viral yesterday. The police actually did not really know the extent of assault that was also meted out on the police officer.
We'll hear from the PRO of the Greater Accra Police as she explains why the police officer who assaulted the Ghanaian Times reporters on that same day is yet to be arrested.
The Times reporter has not even returned the medical form that was even given to him. Then again, statements were still not taken from him. The police cannot go to court with an empty docket.
So is it a case of double standards? On return, we'll get into that. Plus, later on Flip Side, a new song for the falling city.
Dollar police, come to the rescue. The dollar been let loose.
We'll get into that song for you and see if the Dollar Police is doing its job. Business is here. George has that. George, the Dollar Police is working?
Well, on the contrary, we've seen some strong recovery on the market.
Oh, the Dollar Police is working.
Today is closing somewhere around 5 Ghana cedis, 45 pesos. Coming from last week, it was doing about 590.
Wow.
Some strong recovery, and this is day 3 of it.
That's a miracle.
Strong recovery that we are seeing. Let's see whether it's sustainable.
That's a big question. That's a question we always ask each time we pump. The government is pumping a lot of dollars into the system.
Not a lot. We've seen Bank of Ghana up its support in terms of dollar support for some of the commercial banks, and also the fact that they are going to bring in some inflows, the Eurobond, the cocoa loan that is coming in as well. So that again will give some assurance to some investors who were worried previously that because they were not comfortable about the Bank of Ghana's reserve position, they were betting on that. So it looks like we hear that even some people are now selling their dollars. So
and you have a headline on that.
So Evans, if you look at total foreign currency deposits within or with all the commercial banks, convert that into dollars, ending November, it stood at almost 4 billion Ghana cedis. And I'll give you more in this report. And competition in the telecoms data space is set to be getting interesting because MTN has launched what it calls a 4G Plus ahead of Vodafone's 4G launched tomorrow. I'll be getting you more details on that one. The business news on NEWSNITE is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
Hello, I say, how did you know? Vodafone normal 10 megabyte free data. It will call Smart Rubiadron. Share.
Hello, have you heard that Vodafone is giving 10 megabyte free data for every minute you talk? You just dial 50-50.
Yeah, hello? Aha! Right now, we the Vodafone people just they call plenty. Sake of us, you talk 1 minute, you go get 10 megabytes. You talk 2 minutes, you go get 20 megabytes. 3 minutes.
Call Vodafone or any network and get 10 megabytes of free data every minute you talk. It's simple. Talk to browse. The more you talk, the more data you get. Dial 50-50 to subscribe. Talk more, browse more. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready? Thank you, folks. On my A list today, show some love for Contractor EB. So, Contractor, what do you think about the country's changing skyline?
Oh, send them down there, Shayuma. Across skyline, they change you, papa.
Wow. Contractor, don't you get worried when you hear of buildings collapsing?
I'm not for an aswan on Tassam. It is the likability of using low quality product.
Please explain why.
Yeah, cement is no quality on the gasem. Village of Fefe. It was built with gasem. Says the gasem construction si ho pumping she N1 KJT market Kotokana Kumasi airport Cape Coast stadium Atwabu gas project nyina Gasebo Messi what the quality you know what is quality
Gasem 3 cement grades greater value Gasem the nation builder.
Hello and welcome to the MTN weather report. I'm not for and dry. But this year, whatever your needs are, we're there for you. Now the details of my weather report. 15,000 cities could blow from the intertropical boundaries across the country. We can also see a mist of fog patches of 25,000 cities and a heavy monetary downpour of 30,000 cities are a move to treat the dry season across the country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, everywhere you go, whether it be school fees or acquisition fees, we're there for you. Rent advance, salary advance, your sorted advance, because with MTN, we're there for you. Now keep talking, browsing, texting, and sending Momo to accumulate points and win prizes each month to cushion you this year in the MTN More For You promo. 80 dial *120 hash. Now check your points. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Everybody make us see you do the dance. Do the dance.
But the best, we stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience Enjoy the world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Let us help you bank with the right bank. At First National Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're a digital partner that actually understands your business. Enjoy massive value with our various banking solutions. Get a business check account, a day-to-day transactional account for all businesses from all sectors of the economy. Access our online banking enterprise and bank your way 24/7. Invest with our short or long-term options that enable immediate access to funds. Optimize your cash flow, raise capital, and acquire assets with ease with our lending solutions. Trade with speed, consistency, and innovation with our global payments and forex solutions. With so much value up for grabs, there is no reason not to bank with First National Bank. First National Bank. How can we help you?
Honey, I need to get some.
But I don't have cash on me. Let me get some fuel quickly and let's go.
And how are you going to get the fuel? I thought you said you didn't have cash on you. What is this one?
My Puma card.
All it takes is a card. The Puma card allows you to buy fuel cash-free from all Puma energy filling stations. You can use your Puma card with any Visa points of sale and ATM across the country. The Puma card also works on mobile money. You get amazing discounts when you fill up with your Puma card. So register for free and get your Puma card instantly at any Puma filling station.
And you only got one for yourself, eh?
Yeah, would I have had my piece of mind?
Oh, thank you, honey.
And where are you going?
I'm getting something from the shop real quick. I need to test the card.
Puma card. Cash-free convenience.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the total amount of foreign currency deposit with banks has reached new levels. It's now stand at around almost $4 billion. So what is driving this increase and how is this contributing to the city's depreciation? There is more in this report.
According to the Bank of Ghana statistical data ending November 2018, total foreign currency deposits with commercial banks was almost $4 billion. That's when we do necessary conversions from cedis to dollars. This is because the Bank of Ghana would traditionally report these numbers in cedis. The data showed that total deposits for 2018 represent a significant increase over the $3.25 billion in 2017. A careful analysis of the data showed that since 2015, we have witnessed some increase in the foreign currency deposits over the past 3 years. For some, the numbers may give credence to the fact that most people would want to hold dollar accounts. First, to protect cedi investments against inflation and deal with pricing of local items and services in dollars, even by government agencies. Others have also argued that the trend is worrying because since these accounts must be kept in a way that deposits can get access anytime, it often leads to locking up the limited dollars in circulation. This often prevents those businesses from getting access to these dollars, a development that leads to some depreciation of the cedi.
And that was a Business Desk report. Now, these are the various foreign currencies accounts held for individuals as well as businesses, and that is ending November last year. Now, it appears the city's good run against the dollar has been sustained for the third trading day. It's now selling at around 5 Ghana cedis, 45 pesos. Now, Vice President Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia has given government firm assurance of industrializing the economy, which will help increase our exports and consumption or consuming what we produce. The Vice President disclosed this in an interview on the sidelines of a conference in India, that is the India Afro-Exim meeting.
One district, one factory encapsulates the whole agenda to say for every district in Ghana, and we have about 254 of them, it must be a commodity to which you can add value. And a lot of these may be in agro-processing, for example. We want to add value to our minerals also, we want to add value to our iron and steel, so we want to set up refineries for gold. So we have an ambitious agenda to industrialize and add value to our primary products.
It is believed that going this way would help improve the country's dollar earnings, a development that could go a long way to deal with the perennial problems that face the Ghana cedi in terms of depreciating in the first quarter of the year as well as the last quarter of the year. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta will tomorrow give investors who want to invest in the country's Eurobond a fair idea of the expected interest that he is prepared to pay them. This was after the team led by the Finance Minister himself concluded the roadshow in London today. The pricing exercise is seen as very important because of its impact on the cost of this fundraising and even on the total debt stock. The Finance Minister said he's more optimistic about some good returns at the end of the whole offer.
The Eurobond roadshow is going well, and we expect to have a very successful flotation of 3 billion. I'm confident that we have done what we should do. We expect some good results come Tuesday also when we begin the price.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, now Managing Director of the Ghana Amalgamated Trust, Eric Otu, has warned that poor local participation in the bond issue could leave them with no option than to seek investors from abroad, and the trust is engaging pension funds and potential local investors to generate the target of about 2 billion Ghana cedis for the bond. But speaking at the 2019 Pension Strategy Conference, Mr. Otu stated that all efforts by the trust to strengthen local banks will amount to nothing if the commitment actually leaves local pension funds fail to invest in the bond.
Even though we would like to do this locally and work with our pension schemes to do this locally, we're also talking to potential foreign investors as a plan B to do this. But like I indicated, it would be sad, really, if we do all the hard work and then we turn around and turn the banks over to foreigners again.
Managing Director of the Ghana Amalgamated Trust, Eric Otu. Now, telecoms operator MTN has rolled out what it calls an enhanced fast-speed internet for its subscribers, call it the 4G Plus. According to the mobile operator, the service is 20 times faster than the current 4G service and can be accessed across the country. But is MTN going ahead to introduce this service because Vodafone is actually launching its 4G service tomorrow? Now, that's the question we pose to the Chief Executive of MTN Ghana, Solomon Adadivo.
We've been working on this for 6 months, and this really is the timing in terms of reaching a certain level of coverage that we're comfortable with in terms of announcing, right? So it's critical for us to make sure we actually covered ground. Today we have...
I struggle to believe this because the argument is that if MTN can offer enhanced service for its subscribers, why wasn't this done long ago? The timing is obvious that you're trying to fight competition in this space because another competitor is launching a 4G service tomorrow.
We are in a competitive environment, but ultimately our strategy and our destiny is defined by us.
Chief Executive of MTN Ghana, Solomon Adadivo. Well, for customers of Vodafone, they have actually started experiencing the ultra-fast internet service that is 4G ahead of the official launch tomorrow. The telecoms operator is set to roll out its 4G license tomorrow. Now, our checks show that the service has already been available to persons who are having a 4G-enabled handsets. That is earlier this week. Let's hear from Yolanda Kuba. She's the Chief Executive of Vodafone Ghana.
Give our customer a superior experience, and that's really what we're focusing on. We're focusing on giving our customers a superior experience. 4G at this stage in 2019 is a necessity in any country. So for me, really it is about delivering on the promise that I made about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, that we will launch 4G while I'm here. So for example, when we're actually talking about download speeds, 4G will give you more than 100 Mbps from a speed perspective. So whatever you could download on 3G in, let's say, 5 minutes, you'll be able to download on 4G in about a minute.
And that's the outgoing Chief Executive of Vodafone Ghana, Yolanda Kuba. So the competition has already started in the 4G space. 4G Lite or 4G Plus, and then Vodafone 4G events.
Well, 4G is 4G.
And that's it for business. George Yafe, thank you. Let's turn our attention to some other stories before we take some of your comments that you sent in via WhatsApp on 0244340437. Tonight, the police have been defending the speedy arrest and prosecution of a driver and a mate who absconded after beating up a police officer last Thursday.
Well, the two men, Francis Boabeng and Albert Ansah, who were captured in a video that subsequently gone viral, beating a policeman believed to have been saved by his helmet that he was wearing, were remanded for 2 weeks by a Wager Circuit Court and are to reappear in 2 weeks. The Accra Region Police PRO, DSP Efiatenge, in an interview with Gift Andoapia, my colleague on the Pulse today, explains the swift action whilst 3 reporters from the Ghanaian Times who were also assaulted by a police officer on that same day are yet to get anything close to justice. So it's that double standard. So we'll be getting into that shortly. We'll hear from her on this. But let's head to the scene of the incident contained in that viral video where eyewitnesses tell Joy News what you don't see in that video.
It all happened right here at the Malan Junction on the Kasua-Accra stretch. Reports we have gathered from eyewitnesses indicate that it all started when the driver and his mate jumped the red light just some few meters ahead of us. Now, the police officer who attempted to stop the vehicle and the driver failed. Even when the vehicle was in motion, the police officer, we are told by eyewitnesses, jumped from the Okada, that is a motorbike, pounced on the driver behind the steering wheel and gave him a beating of his life. Having had enough of the beating, the driver got out of the vehicle with the support of his mate. They also pounced on the police officer.
Driver was drew on green so we chemuna na policeman chasing what track red no so on track red. And so policeman chasing na or the bachine ha one ya buti on ko wura passengers room as a policeman dey senka wona okro driver. But we wura car no passengers room to driver.
The driver strongly denied jumping the red light. He told me he explained to the officer he did no wrong, but the officer wouldn't listen. He jumped in the vehicle and punched the driver in the head. I must say the vehicle almost ran into the wall. I told the officer about how disappointed I was, because what he did was unacceptable. The driver sustained cuts in the nose and directly above the cheekbone. The beating got to the driver so much so that he decided to retaliate.
But that driver no be any element in their car.
Time we any nyana car no kwa police ni gina driver no steer no kitamu no ogina na chi abreko car na ko ebubobo driver na sum.
I saw the police officer slapping and punching the driver from behind. The driver eventually parked the vehicle just here. It was so pathetic what happened here on Friday.
Meanwhile, Information Minister Kujo Nkrumah has condemned the attack on the police officer.
That will be condemnable as well. It is my understanding that, as is done in these matters, the police will seek to do a quick investigation and find the persons responsible. If you assault a peace officer or a public officer, there are consequences for it.
Well, the driver and his mate were in court today, like we said, and they've been slapped with 4 charges they have pleaded not guilty to. Let's listen to Accra Region Police PRO, DSP Efiatenge, in that interview with Gifty Andoapia.
My information is that this morning the 2, that is the driver and the mate, were arraigned before the Wager Circuit Court, and the 2 of them pleaded not guilty for the charges that were brought against them, and that they have been remanded to police custody to reappear on the 1st of April.
Do we know the charges leveled against these 2?
We have a conspiracy to commit crime and also assault on a public officer, then causing damage to police accoutrement and also obstruction on the road.
That's about 4 provisional charges.
Yes.
And they've been remanded in custody. A lot of people have said that the police has done a great job because this has been done in less than 2 working days.
Yes, Gifty, let me point this out to you, that the incident we are all talking about actually happened on the 14th of this month.
On the 14th of this month?
the 2 days as you are saying. Look at today is what? Today is about 18, if I am right. 14, 15, 16, 17, and the 18. And so the video came out yesterday, or it went viral yesterday. The police actually did not really know the extent of assault that was also meted out on the police officer. So please, let's rectify our note. The police officer was even called on Saturday to even come and give statements because some reports of assault had been made against himself at the Malam police station. So it is not as if the police is trying to put up something together.
So now, let's flip the coin to another case where an errant police officer assaulted 3 Ghanaian Times workers here in Accra. And note, it was that same day that this incident at Weija occurred. Listen to 2 of them.
His colleague policemen, when they came to the scene, instead of asking what was going on, they rather joined their colleague and beat Malik mercilessly to the extent that blood was coming out of his nose. They even put him on a certain method and they were hitting him. So when I saw it, I thought Malik would even die. And the policeman, who was very close to him at the time, used his elbow to hit my stomach. Like when he was pulling my bag from me, he used his hand to hit my stomach still. And then I started feeling pains right there because I recently underwent a cesarean session. So I started feeling dizzy and then I fell down.
That's one of the Ghanaian Times reports.
Now, remember, this incident occurred the same day, as we've emphasized already. The difference is that the police officer in this case is yet to be arrested, although there are pictures of what happened, just as there are the videos of the other case in which the officer was unfortunately, condemnably assaulted. This man is not yet to be arrested, a police officer. Prosecution, we are not even yet to talk about that. Whilst the driver and mate were in court today, swiftly charged and remanded. DSP Fiatengi explains why.
This morning, I had to speak to the commander who was handling this particular case. And to my surprise, the Times reporter has not even returned a medical phone that was even given to him. Then again, statements were still not taken from him. And as I speak to you now, I don't know if he has gone to the police to even give us his statement of what really happened. All we know is that there are publications in the papers, especially this morning, where Times has reported on the front page that the police should prosecute the errant police officer. I will use your medium to plead that the police cannot go to court with an empty docket. Now he tells me, that is the crime officer in this case tells me, that they have been able to secure some witnesses' statements from 2 good witnesses, together with the third police officer in this case. Then again, some other 3 police officers who happened to chance on what was going on and intervene.
So you heard the DSP Fiatengi. She speaks for the Accra Region Police Command. So you heard her make the claim that one of the reporters have still not written a statement. They gave him a medical form and he has not returned that as well. But let's speak to a senior editor at the Ghanaian Times newspaper, Mr. Dave Agbanu. We are grateful for your time here on NEWSNITE. You heard Fiatengi. The basic thing that we need to do so that we get justice has not been done. Is that the case?
Yeah, it's not entirely true. Thanks for having me anyway. It's not entirely true that we have not submitted statements. In fact, the whole day we have been locked up in a meeting, management meeting, trying to see the way forward in this situation. But whilst we were at it, 2 sets of police came to New Times Corporation. In fact, that was what we agreed on because the reporters were to go back to the hospital for their final report this morning. So they agreed that the statements will be taken here in New Times Corporation. And indeed, 2 sets of police came. 2 from the MTU and then another set from the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ministry's police. And the journalists, all of them, the 3 of them, submitted their statements to the police. And they have since gone.
You're saying that that statement has been given to the police?
Yes.
Well, so it comes as a surprise to you when you hear Fiatenge say that has not been done, because he says a medical form was also given to Malik specifically, and he has not returned that as well.
Yes, he has no report. He's getting the report today. And so how could he have submitted the report to the police?
When was he given that medical form?
It was given, I think, on Friday or Thursday. I'm not too sure. I won't guess.
And he's yet
but
to return.
He was given last week, and he went. He was asked to come back. He was going through series of texts because he was feeling pains in the body, and he has to take the test before the report is given to him.
Okay, so as at now, the police has not been able to say anything about the policeman in question?
Well, no, we don't have any information about those involved in beating him up.
Okay, Mr. Dave Agbenu, we're grateful for your time. He's a senior reporter at the New Times.
Senior editor,
at the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
Let's do some sports now.
Evans Mensah.
Hi.
I've been looking for you.
I am here, live and colored and larger than life.
Great to see you.
Yes.
Great
Why?
you. Sorry ball or Ole ball?
Oh, all the ball every day, all night, all day.
You're still winning the Premier League?
We're winning the Premier League, we're winning the Champions League.
And the Champions League.
Yes.
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Accra Hearts of Oak. And they have denied reports. Technical Director Kim Grant is set to leave the club less than a week after the departure of Chief Executive Mark Noonan. Spokesperson Kwame Oparado tells Joy Sport Grant is in the Czech Republic on holidays and is fully committed to the club.
Kim is on a short holiday in the Czech Republic, like we did state in the press release. He took permission from the club, and we know that he's out there on a short holiday, and we know the dates will be coming back. We know the dates will be getting back to training as well. When you talk about anything giving, if you can explain that well, if it is about the speculations that people on social media, I can tell you it's total false. He's committed to Hearts of Oak. He's committed to working with the new CEO, and he's committed to continuing with the good work that he has started for Hearts of Oak to bring success to us. The backroom staff, led by Mr. Ben Hansen, before Mr. Grant left, he had designed a program for them. So that is exactly what they are following. They trained on Friday, they trained on Saturday, and they trained today, all under his instructions.
Kwame Oparado is a spokesperson for Accra Hearts of Oak. So there you heard it. Kim Grant is going nowhere. That's your sports.
Thank you very much, Hans Mensah.
Okay, let's to our campaign now to disband party militias now. The opposition NDC is accusing the leadership of the governing MPP of failing to respect the president's wishes as it directed both parties to sit and talk. The NDC observed that the MPP's foot dragging is enough indication of their lack of commitment to disband their party militia groups. It's been 25 days and counting since the president asked his party to invite the NDC to meet to draw out some modalities to fix the problem with party militias. But the MPP has so far failed to comply with the order. Listen to national organizer of the MPP, Sami Wuku, assuring of their resolve to officially write the letter to the NDC to get them to sit and talk. We'll hear from Sami Wuku shortly. He was speaking just last week, Thursday, on this very matter. And we'll also hear from the NDC's Sami Jemfi, who's the communications director there. Listen, Sami Wuku.
I can tell you on authority that we have still not received a said letter from the New Patriotic Party. And it is very unfortunate that for about 25 days since the president made this call, after 25 days, we still haven't received any such letter from the New Patriotic Party.
But have you contacted the New Patriotic Party to find out why they have delayed, perhaps?
I mean, the present call was made on a public platform. He made a call during the 2019 State of the Nation address at the August House of Parliament, and we all heard him loud and clear. That has been published. Our brothers in the MPP cannot see that they haven't heard that. And you see, it begs the question as to whether or not the MPP is committed to disbanding vigilante groups in their own political party. And it also begs the question as to whether or not they have any respect for the President of the Republic of Ghana, who is also the leader of the New Patriotic Party.
Now, are you suggesting that the NPP is disrespecting the President? Is that what you're saying?
This is a clear case of disrespect for the President, for the authority of the President, because you know that the President is the leader of the New Patriotic Party. You understand? Apart from the fact that he's our president, the president of the country, he is the leader of the New Patriotic Party. He went to Parliament, the full glare of all of us, made a call that I have directed my party to invite the National Democratic Congress to a meeting, for this issue of political vigilantism to be discussed dispassionately and a solution found. 25 days since that call was made by the president, the NPP have not written the letter, or they have not invited us to this meeting as directed by the president, clearly showing that they are not committed to the process, number one, and also showing that they do not have any respect for the president.
And that's the communications director of the NDC, Samit Jamefiwala. Our campaign here at Joy News is still on. Hashtag disband party militias now.
We want you to know that if you don't disband private criminal militia groups, we will not vote for you because we are scared.
The time has come for us as a political class to say that this development is not good for the future of this country.
The NPP has been guilty, the NDC has been guilty in terms of these groups. And so both the NDC and the NPP will have to find a way of engaging the base of our parties.
The NCC will continue to condemn, name and shame all political parties who endorse, support and or identify themselves with any of these groups until these groups are disbanded, word and in deed.
If voluntary disbandment by the parties is not feasible, then I will initiate legislation in the matter.
Joy News, God bless you. If you were not there, Nana Akufo-Addo today will not be making noise about how to disband vigilante groups. We salute you, Joy.
We know them, the individuals in party militias. We know those who fund them. Let's use this to put pressure on the politicians to disband party militias now.
They remain a major threat to our democracy as a nation. Hashtag disband party militias now.
You don't need macho men to be able to help you win elections. Hashtag disband party militias now.
Disband party militias now.
And that's how we end NEWSNITE tonight. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am Emefa Apau.
And we end with that new song that highlights the problems with the cedi and the dollar. It's called Dollar Police. It's by Wuta.
And just after that also, Nana Nsakwao is up next with That's My Opinion. And the topic tonight is de-troubleizing Ghana. You want to stay for that?
They do like a police.